Hello, welcome to Mcfc 9320. Bit of a testing day today for the Blues, but thankfully we can chudder on through that. Tonight we've got Chris Bird. You know, everybody will know Chris from his time at City, and not just his time at City, but a huge City fan as well, like us all. And Anne-Marie and Riz from sunny Bulgaria. Good evening, guys.
Good evening, Andy.
Good to see you all.
Evening.
Yeah, Riz, tell us. Are you just living out in the sunshine at the minute?
I do it every year. I come out here for 6 weeks. I burn myself out back in England with my garage and stuff. So I come out here for 6 weeks.
Not through work, mate.
No, probably not. Watching City, I think, burns me out.
You look like a brown Buddha, mate.
I know it. I do tend to attract the sun.
Yeah. When you back with us?
I'm back on the 3rd. We fly back in a fortnight, so I've been out here a month.
Oh, bless you.
Fantastic.
Nice. So let's kick off with the match today. So many talking points, really. I thought Newcastle, after we went a goal up, I thought we looked class for about 10, 15 minutes. And all of a sudden, Newcastle, they just started destroying us. What's your thoughts, Chris?
I think they got the tactics spot on. You know, they pressed really hard. They put pressure on the ball all the time. Didn't give the guys at the back any time at all. I think they got the tactics absolutely spot on. I think that caught us out. You know, we normally are very, very sort of calm and collective at the back, but when you do get on our toes, then it does start getting a bit twitchy.
Do you think that's got a little bit to do with Nathan Aki going off, because we was okay up until that point, weren't we?
Yeah, I thought Nathan was having a really good game. You know, he's a very calm lad and good in the air, and he's quick. And I think the fact that Ruben came on and was probably not right up to speed straight away, it just give them the opportunity, just that little bit of chink of light that they could get through. But fair play to him. You know, it's I love going up to Newcastle and watching Newcastle when we're up there. And it was great to see that they've got a bit about them again. So I think there'll be a few clubs that will go up there and get a good idea.
Funnily enough, I said that to my son after the match. I went, you know something, Newcastle, although they're the richest club in the world now, thank God somebody else has got that tag. They can't go out there and spend absolutely millions and millions like we did. They'll have to do it like organically.
Yeah.
But they looked as if they had a little bit about them today. Anne-Marie, was it a red card today?
Oh, it was a definite red card. I don't even know why they had to review it, because his feet were off the ground. He caught Kevin high up. There was no question about it in my mind. It was a red card. And for me today, our weakness was Kyle Walker, because he just, for a player who's got the pace that he has, he did keep up with St. Maximin, but just never put a tackle in.
I think there was two weaknesses today, one at the back and one at the front. I thought Phil Foden had his worst game.
Absolutely, and I'm glad you've said that, Chris, because
I know he's the golden child, but he had a poor game. He didn't take people on. He had a one-on-one with the keeper, and he bottled it.
Yeah, and that's 2 games. Honestly, I've got that wrote there about Foden. I'm glad I take a little bit of stick, because I'm not a happy clapper, or he's our own. He comes from Stockport. Yeah. If he's not exempt from criticism, it don't mean to say if you speak negatively about a player that you're totally against them. I've been accused today of causing him to be the I
think if you have a bad day at the office, or a bad day at the factory, or a bad day at the garage, you always get called out. It's no different being on the pitch. Yeah. And he's a young lad. He's 22. He's going to have games like that. But I just thought today he wasn't at it.
And also against Bournemouth as well, twice. And again, I've got that road out. He could have squared it to Haaland. Today, when we was 1-0 up, he could have squared it to Haaland. 2-0. I think that's a different game. I think that's good night, Vienna.
Yeah, yeah.
Riz.
Dare I say we missed Grealish today?
Yeah, you could say that, but I sort of like a little not disagree with. I thought that we had more than a couple of weaknesses today. I've noted down here today we were sloppy. Even Rodri didn't have his best games. I agree with Anne-Marie about Walker. Cancelo I thought was poor with Foden in spells. Stonesy was very, very sloppy, and it's just that partnership what needs to get back going now. It's like it'll be Stones and Diaz now for foreseeable.
Yeah, I think with Jack. I know what you mean about did we miss him, but I had that in my mind as well about are we missing him? But then I looked at the game and I thought, what would he bring? What would he do that would shake it up any different? I think he would have probably made a better fist of it than Phil Foden. So I'd have swapped them two, definitely. If he'd have been on the bench, I'd have swapped him. But obviously he was injured, so we didn't have that luxury.
Is he injured, or is it that with what's he called, Miguel Almiron? With what Grealish said at the end of last season about Bernardo Silva played like him.
No, I don't.
It was actually Mahrez. He said it about.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he was talking.
You'd know, wouldn't you, Anne-Marie?
Absolutely.
He likened Mahrez to Alvaro.
That's right. Yeah. So maybe it was
I don't think that would be the case. He got a bit of a kick in last week, so I think he's probably with the calves of his size, he's going to get a few bruises, isn't he?
We've said that. Before Grealish joined us, I used to think he was one of these players who goes down dead easy and stuff like that. But when you watch him week in, week out, he don't half get clattered, and his
momentum takes him over.
Yeah.
He don't look for it, does he? Well, he kind of looks for the contact, but he doesn't dive. He does get class.
Yeah, he doesn't need to dive because the way he turns and twists. I think when someone touches him and he's got a momentum going, he's going to go down at some point.
Yeah.
I think today we were scared to death of Saint Maximus. I think.
He's not a white van, mate.
Honest, every time they mention his name, I just kept thinking of gladiators or something. Like Saint Maximus. He sounds like a gladiator.
Pep mentioned him in the aftermatch interview. Pep mentioned him and said he was one of the big problems because he comes at you at pace and he's strong.
Yeah. Defenders
do
not
with
like
the pace at all today.
No,
he couldn't.
Even Walker looked off it on the pace.
Yeah.
Listen, they're allowed to. The boys are allowed to have an off day. The positives are 3-1 down to get it back to 3-all. And I think Pep, apart from he had to take Aki off and bring Diaz on. But Pep was more or less, listen, yous have got us into this. You're going to get it out. You're going to get us out of that by not making any more substitutions. And I thought the way the boys stuck together, through it, I thought fair play to him. And we could have won it in the end. But another positive for me today was Haaland. I thought he looked immense today. He's big. Yeah, he could have had a hat trick, but if you look at the stats, he scored 3 in 3.
You listen to the guys on Sky during the game, and if that had been Liverpool or Man United had just won the league and were playing like that, they would have been saying the sign of great champions.
Yeah,
they go down and they come back, and I think that's what we should be saying. It is a sign of great champions that you never say die, and it's about not losing, and they didn't lose.
Well, 3-1, we were out of that.
If it had been one of the other teams, it would have been glorifying what a great comeback it was.
Are you all in agreement with me that Andy Hinchcliffe is an absolute whopper? He is a whopper.
Do you know what? Did we upset him when he was playing for us? Because I've just got a feeling that he's so pissed off with us
Yeah.
You can't ever say anything nice.
Same as Niall
don't
Quinn.
get it.
When Niall Quinn commentates, it's just like it's totally anti-sitting. It's not even bordering bitterness. It just comes across as absolutely bitter.
And he's also Mr. Hindsight, isn't he? When he sees anything, he always thinks, well, he should have done it this way. Well, yeah, of course he should.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
So why is he not?
I'd have done this. I'd have done that.
So why is he not? Why is he not a manager of a top flight club then? Because he's not good enough.
Couldn't run a bath.
That's one way, isn't it? So the positives for me was the way the boys come back and stuff like that. You know, we've got no divine right to win every single match and stuff like that. But I was frustrated watching the match, and as it unfolded, I thought to myself, you know something, for us to get back level, that could be a huge point. That could be the point what wins us the league again. You know, like he did against West Ham. You know, at the penultimate game last season. So I'm really happy. But I think Haaland looked a lot happier today, Riz.
Yeah, absolutely. He's kind of he's looked a bit awkward, and he looked like he was fitting in. He looked like he's been playing with us for a long time today. Once we can get them balls over to him,
he read the game. De
Bruyne's finding him. Yeah. De Bruyne's
he read the game. He knew where Gundogan was. He knew where Silva was, and he knew where De Bruyne was, and that's where he's going to get his main service from them three.
I've got to say though, I love Gundogan. I just think he's such an intelligent. We touched on him last week, didn't we, Anne-Marie? You know, he's absolutely classic. A football brain. He will be a fantastic manager as well, because you can tell.
Absolutely.
Pep's first signing, and he was injured when Pep signed him, but it just shows you how much faith that Pep, had in him. And I was very disappointed when he started getting linked in the summer. Away. I thought, no, that is one player we cannot get rid of, because he's become captain, and I believe it's the actual players now who choose the captains rather than the manager. So it just shows how much he's thought of, with his colleagues.
Yeah.
He's got that cool football head as well, though, hasn't he? You never see him sort of losing it. You never see him, getting angry. Yeah.
Football intelligence.
Yeah. He lets the football, do the talking. So all in all, and I'll tell you what did bug me today. Their keeper Pope, the amount of time wasting what he did was unbelievable. He had the ball in his hands for near on 20 seconds. So
he played well though, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a great game.
He kept them in the game.
I think
he had a great
game.
Absolutely.
I think it was the Pope who was in net for them with some of them saves what he made.
I think if you're on the other side, and if your keeper's doing that, and keeping the point for you by running the clock down a little bit, you're not going to complain. I thought he had a cracking game.
I complain about everything, me, Chris. I really do. no, but I suppose you're right. So the way this, I know it's only 3 games in, but it's normally when City are top of the league, nobody looks at the table. But because City are not top of the league, everyone's looking at the table now for some reason. The reserve team's there anyway, so we're all right. Yeah,
well,
I was just gonna say that I've got an avid eye on in particular Zinchenko and Gabze, Jesus at the moment. The way they're both playing, you can tell they've been in. They've played under Pep. I thought there was immense again yesterday. I'm not so sure about Raheem Sterling. I think what your thoughts on his comments? What's come out, Chris? Over the past couple of days.
Well, I'm not going to comment on what Raheem says, because I'm very close to Raheem, and I head up his foundation for him.
Yeah.
And I don't get involved with the football side of Raheem. I only get involved with the foundation. But I think understanding what he's talking about, and also you look at it from the club's point of view. Unless I was in the room at the time when things were going on, you're never going to know. And if he's got something to say, everyone's got a right of putting something on the record. But
absolutely,
no, I wouldn't comment on what he's saying.
What I was also going to say with that, I thought Jeff Shreves' leading questions to Raheem was bang out of order. He was more or less trying to put words in Raheem's mouth. So I just hope
you've just hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I just hope that City fans can see through that, because his goal scoring record for City, he'll be known as missing loads of chances and stuff like that, but his record is second to, it was second to none for City. And he joined us as a boy, and and he went as a man. But I just hope, City fans do lay off him a little bit. What do you think, Anne-Marie?
I think he'll be very lucky if City fans lay off him, because he came to us having won nothing and walked away with 4 Premier Leagues, 4 League Cups, an FA Cup, and Pep made him a better player than he was when he joined us. And you don't kind of bite the hand that feeds you. He was happy enough to take the money when he wasn't getting started and things like that. You can't just, and I think he did a similar thing when he left Liverpool as well.
Apart from Liverpool aside, because I only want to talk about him only a fraction, seeing as his name's come up. He's walked away with all them trophies, but he made Manchester City play that way as well. It could have been, he could have ended up a duff player, who didn't make it, who just was sat there. I admire any player who, like any players on our bench, really, they'll be earning handsome amounts of money. Now, if it's down to professional pride in that, if it was me, as much as I like, he's got no loyalty to City, and why should he? But us as City fans, if we was on the bench, say Foden was on the bench, for instance, continuously, there'd be a time where Phil Foden would have to think about his career, his England career. So I applaud Raheem, really, for wanting to go to pastures new, especially with the World Cup and everything coming up. So I just hope City fans see through it.
I think if you listen to his mentor when he was a kid, 8-year-old, his mentor's a guy called Clive Ellington, and he was his first coach. And Clive tells a story about Raheem playing and always wanting to be on the pitch and always wanting to be playing. And he's always had that attitude of he wants to be in the game. He's not one of those people that is happy sitting on the bench. He's not one of those people that are not happy being involved. And I guess that's how he is. He wants to be part of everything.
I respect it, because we've got decent money for the lad. And I do think he was coerced in like I said, with Jeff Shreves. I think that's Sky all over that. The way they try to put words into people's mouths. But
it was clickbait.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Andy, at the end of the day, it's all in the edit. It's the stuff we won't see, the stuff he's explained in his comments. Because that's not a soundbite that they can use. They've put the one out there basically that when he was absolutely livid and things like that, and when Jeff Shreves should ask the question of, so what do you mean by that?
Yeah,
that won't make it. Won't make it into the edit, because that's not gonna like just said there. It's not gonna sell. People aren't gonna click on that and share it.
No.
I'm in both both corners on this, to be honest. I think Raheem Sterling's been magnificent for us.
Absolutely.
If you take his comments he's made as what we as fans have seen, then it riled me a little bit. But then you sit back and think about it afterwards, and then you realise what Sky TV and what the press are like. Then you start to see between the lines a little bit. He could be saying that, I was really unhappy about being on the bench. Like Chris has just said there, that's if you know him, you know his mentality, you know what his psyche's like.
Yeah.
If you don't know him.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris.
I come at it I spent 5 years at the club, operating as chief operating officer, but handling all the press. And I know the way it all gets twisted. I've sat with players in press conferences and seen the stuff that goes out on the TV and on the radio, and you're absolutely right. When you see the edit, it wasn't what happened in the room, and that's why I said when you're in the room, you'll get to know the truth, and you'll get to know the sort of the balance of the argument. But if you're going to be base it on sound bites and clips from a radio or TV interview, you'll never get the true facts.
The same then could be said about Milner, yet we still give Milner a hard time at Liverpool.
No, Milner's attitude when he's playing against City, like was it last season before? He was grinning when he knew he should have been sent off and stuff like that. And Milner, yeah, you're quite right, Anne-Marie. It could be looked at that, but nobody went attacking is probably the wrong word. Nobody started going negative at Milner straight away because he served us well. Things started to change for City fans against Milner when all the stuff started, over a period of time when he was playing against us on the pitch and his physical interviews and stuff like that. That was just coached out from Sky, and I think it's time now. City, not just City, any club really, when they know when the media are doing stuff like that, they should just ban them from their grounds, so they do not go to the grounds. And that you've been in that level, Chris. Do you think that's the way to do it, or do you think
once you start back, I used to ban newspapers from the training ground because if I saw him stepping over the line, then I wouldn't allow it. With the broadcasters, it's very difficult to do that because of the contracts that are in place. But I think if it's an interview that's in the tunnel and after match, you're pretty much getting everything that's saying there and then. But that was with Raheem and Jeff. That was a sit down chat, separate to and it was edited. So it might have been an hour's worth of chat and edited into a few minutes.
Yeah, funnily enough, it's easy to coach you into stuff like that. As a fan, thinking, I can't believe he or she said that. Whoever play, whether it's a female player or whatever he plays for, it's easy as a fan. You're riled because you love your club, but when you sit down and think about it, it's exactly that. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough on Raheem. But I'm sure it'll develop organically anyway. So let's talk about anybody else who we think who may come in before the 1st of September. I think we want player to come in. Don't know who. I just think there's a surprise there.
Pep says business is done.
Yeah, Pep says we wasn't signing a striker. Signed two. He was right, really. We're not signing a striker. We're signing two. So yeah. And did anybody see Pep's post match, the way he started biting back a little bit, and it's the same with Grealish as well. It was a couple of weeks ago when Sports Bible started saying that him and Pep had a bit of a spat and stuff like that, and Jack Grealish came out with him and he absolutely gave Sports Bible.
You can read every post that Sport Bible get, and I would say 99.9% of what they put out there is a zero fact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just an absolute trash. But I don't follow them or anything like that. So I only see when people repost or retweet and stuff like that. But the sooner people start understanding that all they want is clicks,
That's how they make the money. The more they can rile you and get you upset and get you to click, the more money you're making for them. So for me,
I suppose you know your stuff, Chris, don't you, with stuff like that?
Just block them.
Yeah. Anne-Marie, I'm going to start blocking you. So yeah, can any of you see one more signing coming in, or anybody go down?
I think we're done. I think we're ready.
So
this Gomez character, I've that kind of. I'm out here, so I'm not seeing as much. What happened with that? Where did he come from?
Signed.
He came from Anderlecht.
Right.
I think it was Anderlecht. Yeah, he's a fullback.
Yeah, under the tuition of Vincent Kompany. So he's going to be playing football in the right way. What surprised me is, and I had to look twice, Chris, that he was a City fan growing up. Yeah. Honestly, Riz, I don't know if you've seen it.
Seriously,
it's a prerequisite now.
True, Riz.
And his brother, City fan, his brother, when he signed for City, his brother posted something on social media of them both. I think his brother had a City scarf round, but Sergio Gomez was there in a David. I think it was it a David Silva shirt?
Yeah, I think so.
There's a lot of United new signings. They've been lifelong United fans and stuff, haven't they? But these are genuine lifelong City fans, which is great.
Yeah. So you
get it.
Well, so we 3 games in, it's looking good. I'm not worried about today, as I say, because of the character what they shown coming back. We've got 2 you'd like to think easy-ish games coming up at the Etihad. If I'm not mistaken, Palace and then Forest. So I think the way Liverpool are performing at the moment, Chris, I think it's important, especially when the World Cup is. I think anybody who gets a nice clean pair of heels at the moment for the World Cup, I think that'll be done and dusted by December.
Do you know it's strange. I have a different outlook on City since I left and since everything that's happened with Pep. And when I was growing up as a kid, I think most of the anxieties I had growing up was because of watching City as a kid. And then when I went on a board, it put me in hospital twice with exhaustion. and a few years after I left, I was diagnosed with angina. So now I look at City and I don't have a worry in my body. I mean, the last game of the season, we're 2-0 down. I'm sat with my grandson and a couple of pals, and everybody around me is falling apart going, Jesus, what's going on? And I was sat back. I was like, I could have had a cigar on. I was just sitting around. Nah, I said, Raz will come on. Something will happen and we'll win this.
Yeah.
And I do you know where I get that from? Was when we were down in Gillingham at Wembley and we'd gone 2-0 down and I'd been kicked out of the Royal Box for swearing. So I had to go and sit on the bench behind Joe and the players. So I'm sat with Michael Brown on the bench when it was 2-0. And as soon as that second goal went in for Gillingham, Joe turned to Willie Donachie and said, "We'll be all right here." and Willie just looked at him as if to say, "What are you on?" And he was just so calm because he knew that the City-itis bit that he said we had was gonna go that day.
Still with us, isn't it? Really,
I don't have it now. I definitely don't have it. I sat today and I knew we weren't gonna lose. Absolutely.
What's been your most memorable moment? Like whether it's working for being with City, working for City for 5 years, or as a fan, because you was going to buy City, weren't you? You was looking at buying City with Ray Ranson.
Yeah.
But before, are we allowed to call him Dodgy Frank?
Dodgy Frank, yeah. It shows you how much they thought of me. They picked him over me.
It's crazy. What's it like to operate at that level, Chris? When you, I'm not asking you to go into specifics, but you're a boiled City fan. You're operating at such a high level. Does it really, really open your eyes with some of the stuff what goes on?
Yeah, and it upsets you because I resigned in 2003 purely on principle because I just couldn't be around the people in the boardroom that I was around. I just didn't like what I was seeing. I didn't like the way things were being done, and I just preferred to be out of it. I wasn't at the club to make money. I wasn't at the club to get big wages. I was at the club because I loved the club. But
one of the quotes from you, if I'm not mistaken, I made people enough money. I want to make money myself or something. It was something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I came out with it. I said that about 2012.
Yeah.
That, I made a lot of money for a lot of people. And that's why I'm in business now doing what I do, because it's my time now. I've done it for everybody else.
Make me a load of money.
What you like at running garages?
Do you know what? Do you know what's funny? I was talking about this the other day. When I was at school and I went to the careers officer and he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to be a car mechanic." That's all I ever wanted to do.
You made the right decision, my friend.
And I can just about put petrol in my car now. can't do anything, Anthony.
Rich wants to be a good mechanic one day, don't you, pal?
I know one
Yeah.
day I've been doing it 36 years. You think you get good at it, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So
but you're saying there about memories. It's strange when you look back, and the first game I went to was City reserves versus Bury reserves, and Tony Buck was in the reserves at the time because he's coming back from an injury, and he cleared the ball on the right side, and he cleared the ball out into the Kippax where I used to sit on the white wall, and knocked me clean off the white wall, and just carried on playing. He's like, so the policeman that was there came and picked me up, and after the game, they invited me to go up the tunnel. So I'm probably about 5 or 6, and I walked up the tunnel, and in what used to be called the Joe Mercer room was a head tennis room, and in that room was Colin Bell, Franny Lee, and all the lads playing head tennis, and it was like I couldn't speak. It was my chest. It was so heavy on my chest. I couldn't even speak. And then fast forward, 30 odd years, and I'm going to supporters clubs with Dennis, with Colin, and sitting down, and it's just incredible.
I was going to say, with some of the things you've probably seen and stuff like when you said, some of the stuff upset you and stuff like that, it probably wouldn't have upset you as much if you'd have been, say, the chief operating officer at, say an Arsenal or something. But when it's your club, you want everything to be right, because you was instrumental in helping City move to the Etihad, weren't you? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. There was myself, Dennis Stewart, David Bernstein, John Wardle, and the FD who I never talk about.
Yeah, all people who was totally passionate, about City, and and they was the absolute dark days. Like I think John Wardle was putting his hands in his pocket, paying wages and stuff like that, wasn't he?
Do you know what breaks me out about that time? When I walk around the stadium now and I see the statues of the players, which is great.
Yeah,
they deserve it. But without John Wardle and David Makin, we wouldn't have a football club.
Yeah, that is bang on.
We would not have a football club, because if we hadn't got promoted against Gillingham, we were in shit. We were in big trouble.
Yeah.
Those guys put their hands in their pockets and kept doing it and doing it and doing it. Shinawatra came in, didn't have any money, had to borrow off them.
That's just incredible, isn't it?
They kept the club going.
But Shinawatra, he although as dodgy apparently people say he is, he gets credited with bringing Sheikh Mansour and that in, doesn't he, and stuff like that, which I always find bizarre.
He's well connected, but you introduce someone to it, he's probably 5 times removed from the actual connection, but he gets credited with it. But
and it's 5 times removed from the law.
Yeah, I'll say to me dying breath, without John Ward, without Dave Makin, no Man City.
No, I think that's it's recognized. I think that's recognised to the generation like we are and stuff like that, because we've touched upon stuff like that in our other podcast, Anne-Marie, haven't we? Where we understand, whereas people of a certain age, sort of like say in the 20s and stuff like that, they don't understand what it was really, really like in those dark days. I mean,
you see the players that they were in that game, if you like. They're treated as like legends. There's certain people at the club, down at the club now, and they're still treated as legends. Yeah. At the end of the day, if they'd have done their job, we wouldn't have been in there in the first place. Yeah. So it is like your Wardles of this world that do need. It needs publicising more, if you like, because there are only a few that are really into the club that understand. I spoke to Chris before. He probably don't remember me, but and like when I speak to Ian Cheeseman about stuff like this, he tells me all about what's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. Then if you real unsung heroes.
When John and David got involved, and I remember going back as far back as 1992, myself and David Makin went in to see Peter Swales to talk about the shop. And at the time, the shop was paying the club £80,000 a year. And Dave Makin turned around to Peter Swales and said, it should be 1 million. You should be doing 1 million. Peter Swales thought he was a nutcase.
Yeah.
He said, no, I'm quite happy with what we're getting, thank you. So when eventually John and Dave took over, they took over the shop and all the retail side, it very quickly became £1 million.
Yeah. And that's somebody who knows the business inside out, rather than just sitting comfortable and stuff like that. That's like that's your vision and your progression and stuff like that.
You don't make a lot of money out of pin badges and scarves. You've got to have a bit more. You got to be a bit sharper than that.
Remember that, Riz?
Got that.
Businessman.
That's me order of my pin badges and my window stickers out.
Yeah,
gone.
that's that now.
Get rid of that now.
Yeah. So I'm Marie, and I'm interested with what Chris has to say about that now. The women's game is coming on considerably now, isn't it? And in fact, I think
although not according to Sky and the BBC this week.
So what it's coming on leaps and bounds. Do you think the comments what Graham Souness meant has been taken, blown out of proportion?
Yeah, I think it has. In honesty, it has, and it didn't help because he was sat beside Karen Carney, and her face when he made the comment didn't help his situation.
Yeah.
And to be honest, you've got to be realistic about it. You can't jump on the bandwagon.
No.
Every time a comment's made, you have to let some of them fly, because for years, regardless of how long the female game's been going professionally, it's a man's game. And it's the same with supporters. Most supporters, and I'm not including you lads in this, but the majority of male supporters think women know nothing about the game, and that's more offensive. Because for me, I've been going since I was 4 years old. I know the game. I know, I understand the offside rule.
4 years of age, football wasn't even formed then.
Get lost.
It was when rugby split from football. I think that's when it was. When Webb Ellis picked the ball up.
I don't know if any of you have noticed today. I've watched 2 live matches today, and at the end they've announced the player of the match, not the man of the match.
No,
and
that's true.
I don't know if any of you picked up on that.
No.
But the player of the match, it's getting ridiculous now, and
it's men are playing, so it has to be man of the match. It's that simple.
But
if it's a women's game, it's woman of the match. It's as simple as that. I think you can take things to extremes.
You're absolutely right, and I think we're probably all of a generation that it doesn't come easy to us all in terms of the way this is all going. And I was right at the beginning at Man City. One of the things that I was involved with was trying to get some money together for the Man City women's team, because around the boardroom nobody wanted to get involved with the women's team. But we just knew, there was a few of us that just knew the girls want to play football. So if they want to wear a City shirt and play football, great. Because I look at it of I want to see a representation in the stadium of everybody: kids, older people, younger people, or girls, women, boys, men. It's you want a real wide diversity, black and white, Asian, whatever. They're all fans, and and football should be welcoming to all of them. But then when you get into the language of it, that's when it starts to get over politicized, because you're frightened to say anything.
Well, it's because we've gone as a society, we've gone too far the other way. Everything has to be PC now, and actually, you do get to the point where you're frightened to say anything.
Yeah,
Marie, I just feel after the brilliance of the England, the Lionesses, this is putting like a little bit of a dampener on it for me, though. That all these negative comments. We should be. I thought Ian. I know we spoke about it before, but I thought Ian Wright was absolutely bang on. When he was talking about that's like now that they kicked off at 8 o'clock tonight, didn't they, Anne-Marie?
Yeah.
Why they're kicking off at that time? Because Ian Wright's bang on where he said, if you.
I know, but we're not playing here, are we? We're playing in Italy.
No, but if it was over here, they'd be playing at say 7 o'clock on a Sunday night or something like that. So I think with a huge success, I think not just the FA, but the club.
I think what you look at though,
crest of a wave.
If they're playing in Italy, the Italian national team might be getting a fair crack of the whip, but I think at the grassroots level and also club level, you're probably not seeing the Italians up to the level that where we are with the way we're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So I think the TV slots will be probably
but it was
what you get.
To be fair, Chris, it was very disappointing this week. City women played in a Champions League qualifier this week. They won the game 6-0. Yet if you looked on Sky, if you go on the Sky app, there was not a mention of it. They mentioned it the next day in the news, but when you looked for the scores, there was no mention of it. And BBC, so these are two high-profile media outlets, and not one of them had the fact that City were playing a Champions League qualifier on Wednesday.
It all goes back to what we were saying earlier, though. It's all about clicks. They'll have got so much airtime over the Graham Souness comments, and basically, it was led by a couple of tweets that tweeted it first off, and then it just developed from there. They're not getting. That's what it's all about now. It's all about getting.
You're absolutely right. The time that you'll see it change is when the BBC are told they have to because of the license fee, and Sky when they find a sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they find someone that's going to put a load of money in, and they'll say, it might be Apple or Twitter or whoever will come in and go, we'll give you 100 million. We want to own women's football on Sky TV. Then you'll see them do it.
You lend us the money, Chris, and I'll front it.
Yeah.
There we go. The prestige women's Super League.
That's got a ring to it, that, mate. It really has.
Yeah. It has.
Unfortunately, we won't have to have you in vision, though, Grid.
No.
No. Face for radio. It's a face for radio.
He's absolutely spot on for radio, yeah.
So,
do
you get to watch the Blues live, Chris? Go to live games?
Yeah. I was at the Bournemouth game. I'll get to most games this season. It just has to fit in with when I'm in the country or if I'm working at a weekend. Yeah.
So because if I'm not mistaken, it was you didn't really go to the Etihad, did you?
No.
Have you found it more welcoming now? Now so many different regimes and stuff.
I got on well with Gary Cook, and when he came along, and then others when the Abu Dhabi guys came along. But I wouldn't go in there when Alistair McIntosh was there.
No, I can understand that.
I would never set foot in a place while he was involved in the club.
So do you go as obviously you go as a fan? Do you sit with us munchkins, or do you get treated with respect like you should? You should do with everything you put in.
No, I pay for everything that I do, so I don't ask for anything. I don't receive anything. If I'm going to the game, I'll go and sit in my seats, or I'll go and buy some hospitality. Yeah,
because the point I'm trying to make is you get an ex-player going back who served the club well, who get treated well. It should be the same with people, people like yourself.
Don't work that way.
What a bloody shame that is.
I was too much of a disruptor, mate. I'm not. I wouldn't accept it anyway. I mean, the Abu Dhabi guys were great. They when we got to the Champions League final, there was about half a dozen of us that had been closely involved with the club, and they looked after us really well.
Yeah.
But day to day, week to week, buy me tickets and buy me hospitality.
What's your thought on the Champions League, Chris? Because I must be one of the minority City fans. I couldn't care less about the Champions League. I couldn't. All I want
from the Champions League is once in my lifetime. That's it. I'm not after us having a legacy of chasing Liverpool or United. Win it once, I'm all right.
Yeah.
But what I'm watching now, and what I've been brought up with, I'm quite happy, thank you very much.
On what you was trying to bring us all them years ago, Chris. You was trying to bring us this then.
Yeah, well, we didn't think I was quite happy to get to the top of the first division, and didn't we get this far?
I was happy to win a throw in me.
Hey, listen, I was happy to not have a relegation battle at the end of the season every year because that's all we had to look forward to.
Were you in the stadium when we played? Was it Mansfield in the auto window screens when it all kicked off?
Yeah, there was hardly anyone there, wasn't there?
Yeah, United were playing AC Milan at Old Trafford, and we were playing Mansfield in the auto window screens.
That's right. I was one of the very few who was at that match.
Then you get battered at Lincoln away, and you get battered at York away. This is utopia. This
is what I think. This is what other fans can't understand with us.
No.
Is they don't get this inherent thing that we've had and we've been through. They don't get the fact that you didn't want to go to school on Monday because we got beat. Yeah. When the derby came along, I hate derbies now because when I was a kid, it meant we were going to get beat and just get destroyed at school. It was awful.
You went to school.
It was awful.
You went to school.
Oh yeah, I went. I went every now and then.
But you're
all levels, me, mate.
Yeah, you're absolutely right though, Riz, because. And I say now, you've got, say, United fans now of, say, in the 20s, they've only ever known success. They don't know. They don't know how to take out how they are now. Whereas we've all grown up through it, and now we're getting success. So that's why we're so level-headed. And and people have said to me, "Oh, don't you feel sorry for United fans a bit?" No, they put that banner up there for 34 years. I will never ever feel sorry for them.
We'd have been happy having the Glazers as our owners instead of Peter Swales, wouldn't we? You know what I mean? It wouldn't have bothered us that.
No.
Don't matter that as long as I don't care where your money comes from. Just give us some and spend it. Not bothered.
Here's one for you. Klopp's come out today and said if the game doesn't go ahead tomorrow,
he wants the points.
Should get the 3 points. Do you agree with that?
No, he's winding everybody up. He's getting them at it.
As Chris said, that's that clickbait.
He's fantastic. He's got everybody at it.
Yeah.
He makes his own clickbait, that lad.
For me, though, I kind of almost agree with him because United didn't get punished in any way, shape or form for the game being abandoned 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And if the same thing happens tomorrow...
I think you're right, Amory. I think they should be deducted the points, but not Liverpool get the points.
Mm-hmm.
I think
a minus 100 goal difference as well, which would put them back bottom because they crept up to 19th today, didn't they? But not even playing.
And also, the players can only play with one boot each. I think that should be brought in.
They already are, aren't they?
No, they're playing with two boots on the wrong feet.
On that note, guys, honestly, I absolutely love this one tonight. It's just great just having it. Like, I don't know if you've listened to most vlogs and podcasts, Chris, but most of them are all like really serious and really getting to the nitty gritty. Ours, we just like exactly what we've done by having a laugh, as City fans are, because that's what we do. We laugh at ourselves.
Can I leave you with a Man United story?
Of course you
can. Certainly can.
I was at the club, and I don't know whether you remember that there was a rumor going around that the United fans wanted to storm the Kippax.
Oh yeah.
They booked an event at the Kippax, some fans, and we'd got a word from somebody within their group that they were going to try and get in the ground one night. So a few of them had turned up at the back gate. So I made sure I was working that night, and we just said, "Sorry, you can't come in. There's a flood." So they were really, really pissed off with me. So it was they'd just gone to Madrid to play whoever they were playing, and we beat them at Main Road. I think it was the Sean Goldie game.
Oh yeah.
And so we beat them at Main Road, and they were ringing me up before they went to Madrid, and they were singing down the phone to me. This group of lads, I think we're from the Red Issue, and they kept singing. They found my home number, and they're ringing me, going, "We're in Madrid, you're in my side. We're in Madrid. You're in my side. So I thought, yeah, go on. Anyway, they got beat at Madrid. So I got their number and I rang them all up while they were on the coach. And I would go, you lose in Madrid. You lose in my side. You lose in Madrid. And they were absolutely spewing. They wanted to kill me.
I bet you won't get many people high up doing that to the Rags or any other supporting club. Brilliant.
I didn't give a shit. I was a City fan, not a bloody director.
And that's what makes us different, isn't it?
It certainly
That's what makes us different.
Absolutely.
Chris, I'd love to get you on again, throughout the season, stuff like that, because,
No problem.
absolutely a pleasure you joining us tonight, pal. Thank you very much.
It brings the age profile down if I come on, doesn't it?
It does what? Brings it down?
It brings the age profile down.
Brilliant. Thanks for joining us, pal. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, guys. Lovely to see you. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks,
See you later, guys.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
No worries.